Welcome to episode 14 of New Money Talks.
Yes, sir.
Got another good one going.
All right, so we're still in Arizona.
That's right.
We had pup rings on last time. We were in Phoenix?
Feeds with a whole bunch of e-commerce guys.
Yeah.
Big maximum.
Now we're in Scottsdale.
Yeah, cheers to that.
With the famous Oliver over here.
I don't know about famous.
What's your last name?
Brocato.
Brocato.
Yeah.
Italian guy. You just nailed it, right?
Yeah.
Where were you?
I was in Milan.
Milan. I'll do the intro. You know what we'll do.
I'll let you intro yourself, but
Sure.
take a couple of minutes, talk about who you are, I guess what you do. You can be as brief or descriptive as you want, and then we'll see where the conversation
Oh, this is going to be a good one. He's a little shy. We're a camera shy guy, but we're going to get him going.
Yo, there's a fat ring light like Sarah. it's a little bit intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. I've actually done a couple podcasts before, but
Look at that.
look at you. I mean, like, it was over Zoom, like definitely not the same.
Yeah. In person's way better.
Yeah, it feels professional as fuck.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So walk us through who you are, what you do. People have definitely heard of you, but just kind of give the intro.
So my name is Oliver Brocato, and I sell sex chocolate.
That's a great.
No, it's funny. It's funny because when I say that, when people ask me what I do, nobody fucking believes it. Obviously, everybody thinks it's a joke, but yeah, that's what I do, man. Basically, we took the most popular and effective natural supplements that typically come in a pill and powder, which is very pharmaceutical and taboo and frankly just like fucking weird. And we put it in a new format targeting Generation Z that is sexy and romantic and a shared experience. So in essence, we destigmatized a very pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah. So you're selling sexual chocolate. What's the name of the brand?
The name is called Tabs Chocolate.
You've probably seen it on TikTok.
Yeah.
They're big on TikTok, Instagram, and everything. So what? Like you eat this thing and what? You get excited or something?
Yeah, something like that. Basically, there are 3 chocolate squares in a box. And each square has like a clean break, a diagonal break, and so you split it into 2 triangles. You have half, your partner has half, and then you get after it in the bedroom.
Oh, wow.
I like that.
Yeah.
So walk us through how you came up with this idea. Like, what was the origin of this idea? When did it start? Stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of people think like I'm some sort of like chocolate fanatic or some sort of sex fanatic. And while I do like chocolate and I do like sex, can't say that was the motivation behind it. At the end of the day, it's a super, super viral product, and I knew that I could blow this up. And that's what we've done over the past year. We've done over 250 million views across social, gone from 0 to over $2.5 million in revenue in the first year, at about like 45% net profit margins.
Wow.
So like all organic. It's been an amazing journey. But yeah, happy to talk more about it.
So you've had the brand for a year?
Yeah. So we took about like a year just building it and developing it. Figuring out the supply chain, the formulation, all the branding, packaging, et cetera, et cetera. But we launched about a year ago, and we've been live since then.
Fantastic. And how long have you been in e-commerce for?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. I got my first taste of e-commerce, of entrepreneurship, when I was a freshman in high school.
And how are you still a sophomore in high school now?
I'm about to walk off.
How old are you?
No, I'm 21. I actually just turned 21 2 days ago.
That's awesome. Happy
Yeah,
birthday.
thank you.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, where are my gifts?
I think we guys are going to get that to me, guys.
Nice, we drink that to get out.
You started when you were 14?
Yeah, so I started when I was 14. I saw the fidget spinner trend explode.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, my high school was like one of the first places where it took off. So definitely like lucky timing. And I saw it, I was like, yo, I could make these, I could sell these. So I called my grandpa up. I was like, yo, give me a little bit of a loan. He sent me like $500.
Nice.
I bought a 3D printer, like a rubber mallet, and some skateboard bearings, and I manufactured them in my basement. And I would sell them to all my boys at school, like all my homies. And eventually I recruited some of my friends to become like sales reps for me, and middle schoolers were selling the middle schools and elementary schools.
Candy selling.
Yeah, it's like selling candy.
Yeah, exactly. I knew it was hot. It was super hot. And eventually, I tapped out like the physical space. Like everybody in my high school had a fidget spinner in their pocket. So I was like, okay, like now what? what do I do next?
Yeah.
And so then I started knocking on doors in like my town and neighboring towns. Just
Oh,
like,
so you were walking door to door?
well, not when I say doors, I mean shops,
Okay.
like local mom and pop shop stores.
Awesome.
Yeah, hustling for sure. And then eventually I was like, yo, like, I'm gonna put it online. It's just like the next kind of logical step. Had no experience in e-commerce, like had no idea what Shopify was or any of that shit. But I was like, yo, eBay, right? Like it's super easy to list something on eBay, or Etsy, also something super easy. So, you know, I put them up, and that was like my first like cha-ching, you know, that was my first like taste of that kind of like Wi-Fi money. And I've just been hooked ever since.
Shout out Wi-Fi money.
Yes,
Yeah. So you were 14. So you find Shopify back then? You just eBay though.
It was eBay and Etsy. Yeah, eBay and Etsy.
How do you fall into the whole Shopify ecosystem in the world?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So the fidget spinner trend was enormous, it was tremendous. That's kind of where I got my start. But as soon as it exploded, it also died really quickly. And after it died, I was like, all right, like, what the fuck do I do now, right? I did pretty well, especially like for a 14-year-old kid. You know, I also did like events. We'd go to like bar mitzvahs and, you know, whatever. Like we'd set up like a booth and like hand out free fidget spinners to the kids. But, you know, after it died, I was like, shit, like what do I do? And so I decided to like look at like dropshipping. Tried setting up a couple stores, failed, didn't get anywhere. And then I was like, okay, what skill do I have? Well, like for the fidget spinner brand, you know, I grew my Instagram account from like 0 to 10,000 followers pretty quick.
How'd you do that?
Just like giveaways. I was like growth hacking it, like using certain hashtags. And I would like use like some like bots and engagement groups, like follow and unfollow. You know, so just like
for life.
yeah, all that bullshit.
Like for likes.
Yeah,
Follow for follow.
follow. You know, I follow like a bunch of people, unfollow a bunch of people. Like how that all automated. You know, mass DMs. And so I was like, okay, that's a skill that I have. I'm gonna build a business behind this. And so I started a little social media management agency.
How old were you at this time?
Probably like 14 and a half, 15.
Oh,
This is
wow.
probably 15 maybe.
Wow.
My first client was my barber shop.
Okay.
He would give me a free haircut a month in exchange for running his Instagram account.
Okay.
And he like let me like work out of the back of the barber shop. He gave me introductions to other business owners around town. And before I knew it, you know, I was running the Instagram account for the fish market down the street, the hair salon, the clothing store. And you know, I kind of cornered like the little town that I grew up in. I felt like the mayor, you know, walking down the street.
Where?
Armonk, New York. Shout out 10504.
105.
Yeah, man. So that was kind of like my next move. But what happened was with the whole kind of Instagram management thing, it's like it was tough because there's no attribution, right? Like there's no measurement of the actual impact that you're driving for the business. And while these like local like shops weren't paying me a lot of money, it was still a lot for them, and there was no like ROI. There was no like sort of understanding of like what I was really bringing them, right? And so from there, I was like, you know, fuck all the Instagram management. I want to get into ads, because if I get into ads, I am indisputably like driving conversions, driving sales, making them money, and of course becoming indispensable and making a lot of money myself. Facebook ads
14 this whole time? And you're thinking,
I mean, like now it's like 15.
You're going through high school.
Yeah, going through high school. Exactly, going through high school. You know, like with ads, it's like every single dollar you spend, it's measurable, from, you know, the number of impressions to the page views, to the add to carts, initiate checkouts, purchases, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's where I knew I wanted to be, and that's where I started to kind of pivot.
Definitely. And then, so you did all throughout high school, and then you went to college, right? So you did go to college.
I went to college, kind of. So after like, you know, getting into the ads again, tried like dropshipping a little bit, went back to my roots, like selling shit on Etsy and eBay again. And then one of my buddies, who was like pretty experienced and big in kind of like the eCom space, he was heading up growth for this app. I was about a senior in high school at this time. It was called It's Me. You may have seen it on TikTok. But basically, this was like way before like TikTok is what it is today, or was what it was today. And essentially, he brought me on board to manage all of the influencer collabs for the app. And we were spending, you know, anywhere from like $1,000 to $3,000 a day just partnering with these micro influencers who had never done brand deals before. We were getting like locking in these rates for pennies on the dollars, and we were just going absolutely crazy. Driving hundreds of millions of views. We brought the app to like number 4 in the social media networking charts. Like number 1 was Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and then here we were, which was like a team of like 4 like dudes that were like younger than probably like 25. So that was kind of like my first like kind of experience with TikTok. And then I actually like parlayed that into working for this like leggings brand. They're like these like viral kind of TikTok leggings. And again, kind of managed the whole entire influencer TikTok segment. We blew that up, ended up selling about like $700,000 to like $1 million worth of leggings in a year, which was also like another like foundational experience.
There's like leggings that make like your butt look good.
Yeah, they're the leggings that made your ass look fat. But again, like it wasn't my company. It was like a project that I was working on. But
you were learning a whole bunch of stuff.
But I was learning, and I wasn't making like any money. Really, but again, just like learning. And after all of that, I was like, okay, like it's time to make my own thing. I want to launch my own product. I want to launch my own brand. I clearly had the skill set, the knowledge. I had a little bit of like kind of seed funding at this point, and that kind of led to Tabs.
Definitely. So like you're thinking through different products to do, what's gonna go viral on TikTok, because like that's your experience, right? So you're like
exactly.
You're kind of like taking what you learned and be like, all right, like what can I create that's different, not just like off the shelf dropshipping product.
Exactly.
You came up with Tabs, right?
Yeah.
And Tabs is a hard product to make.
Yeah.
Like you spent months and almost a year.
About a year. Yeah. So pre-Tabs again, I was thinking like, look, what could go viral? Like what can really pop on TikTok? I saw like these hot cocoa bombs. I don't know if you guys have seen them before. They were kind of like bath bombs.
Oh, you drop them.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a hot cocoa bomb where instead of like a bath bomb, right, it's like a chocolate shell. You dropped it in your hot milk. It would kind of like spin up, and then there would be like cocoa powder inside it, and you'd spin it up, and you make the drink. And they were super popular like in my bakery, and they were super popular like all across the United States. But there was no like one like centralized seller. So like that originally was going to be like my product, going to be my brand.
I like that. That's cool.
But then, my partner, my now partner, sent me a TikTok one day. And it was a video of a sex shop. It had like 8 million views, 2 million likes. And I go to do research on the brand. They're like not being sold online.
Wow.
They're like product and packaging is completely ass. Yeah. They have no digital footprint or social media presence. They're not running any ad. We're like, yo, this is such a fucking dope product. If we brought our background and executed properly, we could blow this shit up.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
Definitely. And I think I'm actually very curious about like you developing the product.
Right.
Like most people in e-commerce, they just find an off-the-shelf e-commerce like AliExpress product or a private label and make you like formulate and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You're obviously not a scientist, right?
No.
Like how do you figure this out? Like actually, I think that's like interesting because like I think what's interesting about Tabs is that you're so differentiated that like the barrier of entry into your space is massive. Like it costs money, it costs time, it costs expertise. So like walk through that process. Like what did you do in that year to like actually create Tabs?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so don't even think about copying.
It's like dude, it's impossible.
No, it is.
I mean, like
it's tough.
You
It's
can
tough.
keep it open,
It's
but
tough.
just I guess maybe explain like the phases. So like
Sure.
Like, you're not a scientist.
No, of course.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I want to say is that like I'm not a scientist, and I did not reinvent the wheel. What we did is we took the most popular and effective natural supplements and just put it in a new format, right?
Smart.
So it's not like we came up like with this crazy recipe or concoction that's like life-changing. Like no. We took something that worked and we presented it in a new format that I think like really like flipped the industry in its hat, right? Because like if you were with your girl and you pulled out a pillar powder, she'll look at you like, what the fuck? Like what what the fuck? And if you look at like competitors, in the space, right? Like Blue Chew, Hims, like even Viagra.
Blue Chew's weird.
Yo, if you look at their advertising there specifically, their whole entire messaging is like, hey, it's super discreet packaging. Your girl won't even know, right? Like that's the kind of like communication that they're presenting with their customers. For us, we're like, yo, fuck all of that. We want you to embrace this with your partner, enjoy it with your partner, break it in half. And by the way, that also plays extremely well on camera. It's like visually explains the product. And so that was kind of like the whole like ingeniousness behind tabs, in my opinion.
I love that. So
And what I credit to a lot of our success. In terms of, I guess, like, the first year, like building it out, the formulation, etc. There's just a lot of groundwork, finding the right co-manufacturers and suppliers and distributors.
The one thing you spoke about too is like the temp control and stuff like that too. Like this stuff else.
Right. There's a lot that goes into it. They're like, we have to source 4 or 5 different supplements, each from its own individual manufacturer. Then like there's the chocolatier that makes them. Then there's the mold manufacturer for the chocolate. Then there's the boxes. There's the chrome poly mailers that we were talking about. Trap the heat, creates an embryonic effect to ensure that the chocolate doesn't melt in transit. Like there are so many like moving pieces that we had to figure out and coordinate, and also do so on a very, very limited budget. Because keep in mind, we're fully bootstrapped. We started Tabs with $30,000 total. And so, for most manufacturers, they don't even want to fucking talk to us. We're not worth their time. Their MOQs are 100,000 units, 300,000 units.
Someone to work with you.
It was just cold calling, man. Like cold calling hundreds of co-mans. And finally one person said yes. And he was our guy.
Lucky dude.
Yeah, lucky dude. Yeah, he's a lucky guy.
Well, actually, we did move.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know how lucky. We outgrew him, right? Like he works with micro runs. He does like pretty much everything by hand. Takes fucking 3 months to get a production run done. It's like we just can't like work at that velocity anymore.
No, I think your velocity is important to even talk about that. Like the brand has grown, right? The brand has gone viral on TikTok. You guys are amazing at that. Like your organic TikTok stuff. We had Luca on here too.
Oh, yeah?
You guys are all like good buddies and all do the whole organic stuff together. You guys do a whole great job with that, right? It's like I was asked this question. Share some sauce with us. Like how the hell does organic stuff work? Like what are you doing to like create all these viral posts on social media, right? Like there's obviously an art and a science behind it, right? Formula. There's some formula.
Yeah, absolutely.
Walk us through a little bit.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. The first thing that I want to preface this like with a caveat is, again, like you could play the game on hard mode or on easy mode, right? Like the hard mode would be just like any random product. For us, again, we specifically invented and created this product to go viral on TikTok. So it's way easier. We're swimming downstream. Other people are like trying to fight against the tide. So I do want to say that, like, yes, like there's 100% of art, a science. Like there are systems that we've developed that are incredible. But it's not just like, hey, like a copy and paste, and you can work with this like for any single brand, like by any means. But with that being said, for me initially, I started with influencers. I knew that I wanted to work with as many influencers as I possibly could, which became very, very challenging to do so at scale. The reason being is that 90% of them don't respond to you. So you have to cast an extremely wide net. Of those that do respond to you, half of them charge like an exorbitant rate price.
So you're paying them.
Of course, yeah, paying them for posts, of course, sending them products and paying them for the posts. But half of them will just charge so much fucking money where it's like, the economics of it just don't make sense. Yeah. And then of those that do agree to work with you, you send them product, another half of them just like disappear and ghost you and steal your product.
Yeah.
So it's like, you shoot a message out to, let's say, 10,000 influencers. Maybe you're working with 30. I'm pulling these numbers out of my ass. I'm pulling these numbers out of my ass.
But still,
the point is that it is so fucking time consuming. There's so much labor that goes on. And of course I streamlined the process with VAs, had them firing DMs, which also became a problem because you can only send so many DMs in a day before Instagram action blocks you. So you have to send out multiple accounts. But streamlined it with cold emails, text messages, using TikTok Creator Marketplace. But even with all of that, it just became a nightmare, like a headache, or a huge, huge headache to run efficiently at scale. And so eventually I was like, fuck this. There's got to be an alternative way. And the beauty behind TikTok is that they've democratized the ability to go viral, right? Doesn't matter if you have 40 followers or if you have 40 million followers. If it's good content, you can hit the For You page run. And luckily for us, we have an amazing product that lends itself to create good content. So I had this idea, how they're businesses hire a creator to run a brand page. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to keep scaling that across more brand pages with more creators. So at first it was one creator on one page. And then I was like, okay, let's add another one, another one, to the point where we have 30 to 40 creators like on retainer that are pumping out anywhere from 1 to 3 TikToks a day, just putting out a massive amount of content. And the TikTok algorithm is a black box. People working at TikTok don't even know like what's good. No one has any clue. But and I can't tell you which video specifically is going to go viral. But what I can say is that if we put up 50 videos in a day, one will hit. Definitely. It's kind of the idea of, you can't, instead of trying to find the needle in the haystack, you just grab the whole entire haystack.
You just take it all away.
Right. And then you got the needle.
It's like a volume.
Exactly. It's a complete volume game. And so that was like kind of like one of the first systems that I designed and built out that worked tremendously well for us.
Definitely.
And I also want to add too, a lot of people are like, well, why not just put like a bunch of creators on one TikTok page and just post from like the same page? Why do you create individual pages? The reason why is because TikTok analyzes the page and they start to like kind of figure out like the creator style, the content's ethos, the format, et cetera, and then they figure out like what audience to push it to. And so if you stack a bunch of creators on one page, the algorithm gets super confused, like all over the place. It's like too many cooks in the kitchen. So as a result, I isolated one creator per one account and like scale horizontally across what I like to call like subsidiary accounts.
Interesting. Yeah. And so this is pretty much the strategy that got you within the first year to where you're at, right?
I would say like one of the main like primary jobs. There's some other marketing channels.
You guys almost like pioneered this in a sense, right?
Yeah, I mean like a lot of people call this like the Andrew Tate method. Like we were doing this before Andrew Tate was on TikTok.
But also a little bit of controversy because people are like, oh, does this actually work? Does it not work? And so gets the comments going.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like people are commenting like, yeah, like sex chocolates, this, that, and the third. Like the more comments you're getting, the more it's just going to be more viral, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, more so than the comments, it was just more so like a game of scaling content out. Just like getting as many shots on net.
I have a question for you. How far can this take you though? Like, can this take you to become a $10 million brand?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think that it can take me to become. So here's the thing. For some brands, probably, because they're growing their brand accounts and they're compounding. For me, I'm in the sex space and I'm in the supplement space, which is a big no-no for big tech, right? For Facebook, TikTok.
Actually, I just thought, how come you haven't ran on like what's it called, like the Pornhub network?
We tried Traffic Junkie.
It didn't work for you.
It didn't really work for us. I don't know if we gave it like a real fair shake. We'll probably like.
I hear you got to spend a lot.
You have to spend a lot on Traffic Junkie
before you see anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Not surprised.
I just thought about that because like you said, Blue Chew is literally all over these things.
Yeah, but they also have I hate when people compare like a bootstrap brand to like some like venture capital backed like multi-million-dollar company. Like it's just not the same. Like yeah, I'm sure they spend on Traffic Junkie, but like they can just write it off to like brand awareness. Like they don't give a fuck about conversions. Like for me, every single dollar that I spend, I need to see a return on. Otherwise, like the lights aren't on tomorrow.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah.
And you're like, I love the Thailand event because you went from like selling one product on Etsy, eBay to dropshipping in a sense. And now you have like a legitimate brand, right? Where you're thinking through like, okay, like profit margins, EBITDA, scaling, etc. Like venture stuff like that. Like how do you for people out there doing e-commerce, right? Where do you think it's better to be in the dropshipping world or more in like the brand building world, a combo of both? Because like you guys aren't like the D2C darling type of looking brand, but you also are in the dropship. You're a good mix, right? Where it's kind of
hybrid.
It's a hybrid, right? Like it's good to be like that, right? Because using a lot of the dropshipping methods, and then pushing the boundaries with like building good product, like building good brand, building good customer base, etc. Right? Like where do you see you guys something? Where do you want to be?
Sure. First of all, like I think that dropshippers are underappreciated, like by a long shot. Some of these dropshippers are the pioneers, like of the whole entire digital marketing world, and they do not get enough credit. I would also argue, like in a large sense, that it's probably more difficult to be a dropshipper than to run a sustainable, scalable brand. Because when you have a brand, you're banking on LTV, you're banking on a returning customer that's coming back and back and back, which allows you to not necessarily be profitable on the front end, which gives you more room to advertise. With a dropshipper, they're churning and burning customers, and so they have to figure it out and be profitable from the first purchase. So like, I want to start with that. But the way that I look at it is like it's a ladder. You know, it's like, you start off with drop shipping, you learn skills, you learn the ropes. There are no barriers to entry. It costs $0 to get in the game, and it's just about experience. The next level up the ladder is like kind of private labeling, right? You find a good drop shipping product that works,
and you put your
logo on it, you order some inventory, and that's kind of like your first like step of like building a brand. And for me, like that was kind of like Leggings, the company that I was working in. And that was right after the drop shipping. And then I feel like the ladder number 3 is actually building out your own proprietary product where there's not as much competition, there are more barriers to entry, there's a moat around you. And so I think like that's where you want to go eventually. With that being said, like I don't look down upon the dropshipping, I don't look down upon private labeling. Like to me, I think that those are like fundamental steps that an entrepreneur must take in order to get to that point. And you look at a lot of the brand builders that raised a bunch of money and have no experience in the game, and you're fucking retarded. And they're burning money.
They know nothing about performance marketing,
Right.
It's all just like, brand awareness.
Oh, and then they think that they can just like hire agencies and basically like outsource the hardest part of building, an e-commerce business, which is marketing, which is getting in front of customers and doing so at profit.
Yeah, you're not an e-commerce brand, you're a marketing brand. You're a marketing company.
I'm a marketing company. Yeah. I'm a media company at this point, right? I'm a media company.
Monetize through the product.
Right.
What massive brands are like 2 levels ahead of you that you look at for inspiration? What are some like brands that you like really like? Damn, like I look at these guys and like we take some of their stuff and use and stuff like that. Do you look at any big brands like that right now?
That's a good question. So for me, you asked me a really interesting question earlier about can you get to 8 figures? Can you get to 9 figures? Kind of like with what you're doing. And my problem is I'm in the sex space, I'm in the supplement space. And so I have a very hard time, like actually growing accounts because TikTok will come in and shadow ban them. They'll delete the account. They'll just stifle views. And so as a result, I'm kind of like doing like this guerrilla marketing campaign effort where I'm constantly coming back with new pages, new creators, and again, trying to hit the For You page and go viral. So with that strategy, like, no, I don't think that I can necessarily get to 8 or 9 figures doing what we're doing now. Other brands are in a different position. For example, Mini Katana. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but they sell like anime samurai swords, and they don't have the same problem with us. Where they're just constantly building their brand accounts, and now their YouTube is firing like 200 million views a month. Wow. Their TikTok is firing like tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of views, and they're an 8-figure brand and they're crushing it. So I look at Mini Katana for inspiration, kind of, but the problem is that I'm in a completely different game. What works for them doesn't really work for me. What I've realized to get to the next level, I have to figure out the paid media acquisition side of things, which is very, very difficult because Facebook doesn't fuck with us, TikTok doesn't fuck with us, nobody wants to touch us. And so we have to get incredibly creative with the advertising, the landing pages, the advertorials, looking into cloaking, whole bunch of methods in order to get this shit to work. But that's what's going to be the thing that elevates us.
To me, it's actually crazy, your whole story, because like your whole business, like honestly, it's like so hard that it shouldn't even exist. It shouldn't work. But you pretty much have figured out how to make it work, right? And I've met a lot of guys who are in the dropshipping world are the opposite. If you were like, hey, the business manager goes down, like the processor goes down, and boom, they quit. You know what I mean? And like a lot of what we've like met guys in this podcast are just like you. They're like, hey, look, if a problem happens, so what? It's part of life. There's always a solution. And I see that as you're talking, you're just like, yeah, I can't do this, but so what? We can do this.
So you're gonna like this. Another one of our like really cool marketing channels. We have a Discord with 1,800 kids that are like probably anywhere from like 16 to like 20 years old. And they come into the Discord, they get a custom promo code, which tracks the sales that they drive. It's affiliates, but what's really interesting is that they make their own independent Instagram account. That's like a subsidiary version of, kind of. And they take our most viral videos and they repost it on Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, et cetera, at such a mass scale. That collective group has driven probably close to $500,000 in revenue.
How did you build that?
It took time. It took time. It was a snowball effect. We do a lot to incentivize growth within the Discord. Where we'll do like invite competitions and give like bonuses every single day. If they post a video, they react to a message, and then I have my VA take all the names, put it in a wheel, we spin a wheel, and whoever it lands on, we give them like $10, and we spin the wheel like multiple times every day, like to kind of foster retention. We create like a community where we have like a gym chat, where people are posting their gains and like selfies and shit like that.
Do you think it's worth scaling this group to be bigger?
I'm right now I'm scaling the group.
Yeah, that's true. Like the community aspect of building a brand.
Right.
People neglect that.
People think of like Facebook, TikTok, but then that's a whole.
Well, even within the company, because this isn't like the community for customers. This is a community for like affiliates almost. Yeah. And so even there, like there's so much power.
Walk through what an affiliate is, because people don't even know what that is half the time. It's like there's this big world of affiliate networks, right? I think people don't even talk about what the hell this is. Like, talk about what even is an affiliate, right?
Yeah, I guess I would describe an affiliate as like a mercenary almost, if that makes sense. Where they're an independent person, they don't have any sort of relationship like with the brand or the product itself, but they see that there's an opportunity that for every sale that they can get the brand, they get to capture a percentage.
For sure.
And so they work on their own accord, however they want, to basically push eyeballs and traffic and ultimately conversions. Would you guys agree?
Yeah. So that's someone who's promoting someone else's product or service.
Yeah.
Getting a cut of it.
Yeah, it's a whole channel that no one even thinks about, right?
And all of my guys are like on organic social. We've set up and built this blueprint for them to follow.
You use like social snowball or something?
Yes. Shout out Noah Tucker, social snowball. But yeah, no, so that's been.
That's kind of funny. Yeah, let's do this.
But that's been a channel that's been crushing for us. Again, super out of the box, unconventional, untraditional. Like, what other brand is working with 1,800 kids to amplify their content and messages?
Definitely.
And it's cool, man. I got like a 13-year-old kid in the Discord that I think has made like $10,000-$15,000.
Wow.
Just reposting videos onto Instagram Reels. It takes 2 minutes a day. So that's also pretty cool. But that's one of our that's one of the chips for sure.
Do you have anything?
Yeah.
I have a whole bunch.
On the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Do you enjoy what you do? That's a simple question, but it's legit. Like,
what percentage of what you do you?
Yeah, because you obviously don't enjoy all of it. But like, do you enjoy running tabs, like running an e-commerce brand, and doing all the stuff that you do?
Yeah. So for me, like tabs is I'm not super passionate about the product or the brand, to be completely honest with you. But I love the game.
Thank you for the honesty.
I love the game. I love the game. So do I love what I do? Absolutely. Tabs for me is like a vehicle to play the game. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? If it wasn't tabs, it would be something else. With that being said, I don't want to be running tabs long term, in the next 5-10 years. I don't want to be growing this brand. There are things that speak to me more personally.
Like what?
That's a conversation for another time.
No, for sure.
But yeah, again, how we're talking about the ladder, I feel like this is a crucial step in my journey as an entrepreneur and as a person. And I would say about a year ago, I connected my identity and my worth so much to the company. Whereas Oliver was Tabs was Oliver. But now I feel like I've zoomed out quite a bit, and I realize I love what I do. I'm obsessed with it. I'm super passionate about it. But at the same time, I know that I'm also bigger than this. And this will be a forever foundational experience that will lead to much larger avenues in the future.
It's not the thing that you want to be written on your bridge.
No. Oliver Brocato, sex chocolate connoisseur.
That's such a good conversation starter.
Yeah. No one believes it.
You meet a girl, it's what do you do? I sell sex chocolate.
No, I'll take you a punch in the face. I get a drink thrown on you. Huh?
Jesus.
Yeah. Have you looked into retail?
A little bit. So we haven't done too much with retail. We work with some small stores, smoke shops, sex shops, convenience stores.
Spencer's.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to be a focus for us this year. Honestly, we've just been so focused on TikTok and kind of figuring out those kinds of systems over this past year that we've neglected other important parts of the business. So wholesale and retail is something I definitely want to break into. We are carried in some stores, just incoming, companies that have messaged us, emailed us, hey, I saw you online, we want to carry you, and we've arranged some deals, but nothing crazy. But yeah, I definitely want to work with a distributor and really start pushing and making that like a legitimate.
You see a lot of brands like at the 7-figure mark, they start pushing into the retail.
Yeah.
Like, actually, you can't do Amazon. Like they'll do Amazon.
No, we can.
You can do
Yeah,
Amazon.
we actually got approached by Amazon.
There you go.
Okay.
So you can do stuff like that where like you start expanding your sales channels.
Exactly.
And that's you get to the 8 figures.
Exactly. I mean, here's the thing though. I don't think you want to expand too fast. Like year one, it was a fucking roller coaster.
That's crazy because I keep forgetting it's only been 1 year.
Yeah,
And you've done this much in 1 year. It's kind of nuts.
Well, I mean, honestly, like, the numbers aren't insane. Like I'm sure that you've had people come on here that have 10x my numbers.
You done a few $1 million.
Yeah,
first year.
Yeah, we've done a few $1 million in our first year.
Yeah.
I think what's more impressive than the number is our profit margin.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think
nobody talks about the profit.
Yeah, I don't think too many people can say the same thing. You know, I've like friends that are founders that have done like, you know, way more revenue than me. But
you clear more money than them.
Sure. But yeah, no. So definitely have some big plans for this year. I want to get into Amazon. I want to expand into wholesale retail. I want to expand internationally. More than 40% of our traffic incoming right now comes internationally, and we can't sell to them.
Why not?
So, every single country has their own rules and regulations about the supplements and the labeling and the nutrition facts, and so you have to be very careful and ensure everything's up to date. So that's something that that when we flip that dial, like, hopefully we should see a big increase. Among some other things, cracking paid media. Again, I think that's really going to be the lever that takes us from a couple million into tens of millions. But yeah, I'm excited for the future.
Have you considered creating like a lead magnet product that will allow you to market like white hat, not have any issues, and then kind of like funnel them and like upsell what is currently your primary product? Because I'm actually doing for a current brand, the flagship product that we're launching is pretty much not compliant with ads.
Yeah.
We'll probably get it to 6 figures a month organically,
Right.
but it's like beyond that, we're gonna introduce other products that we can run ads to, and then funnel people to that secondary product that really can't be sold with ads, but that goes very complementary with the new products we're gonna be launching. Have you ever considered something like that?
Like recently, like now that I'm like trying to break into paid ads and having like the conversations with like people in the space that have either done it successfully or people that know how to circumvent, like that's kind of like one of like the common pieces of advice and wisdom that I've been hearing. So that's definitely something that's top of mind and something that I'm going to be exploring. But again, like for the past year, it's just been like heads down, laser focused. I'm like, okay, how do we get TikTok and how do we get organic to work, and how do we get it to work every single day, in a sustainable fashion that promises longevity? Because anybody can get a viral video and hit, a crazy day. But we don't want like candlelight spikes, right? I want to see like at least some sort of baseline. And so that comes from developing systems and building a team.
Dude, I'm thinking like relationship idea book, like date idea book.
Love it.
You launch some shit like that.
Yeah, I'm actually launching
traffic.
That's what I'm doing.
Weren't you one of those?
So there's a company called the Adventure Channel.
I've seen their ads are amazing.
And they're almost like, I don't want to say they're a monopoly because like not a lot of people know about them, but they're like the ones who I'd say pioneered that.
Right.
And dude, I looked at that and I was like, I could totally create a variation and a spin-off of this. I think that'd be a great idea for you. It sounds like you're already ahead of it. Yeah.
No, for sure.
Because you could 100%, you could do the same thing organically and now have twice the reach, but the same people who saw the ads before who didn't want that, they're probably going to want this one, and then maybe because they get this one, they have a great experience, now they want that one.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're actually building out like an ebook right now, just like for like a lead magnet for emails. Yeah. I think it's like how to make him calm, or like how to make her calm, like some shit like that. That's in the pipeline right now.
Yeah, it's in the pipeline. He hired somebody on Fiverr.
ChatGPT.
What do you think about all that ChatGPT stuff? Do you think that makes like creating content easier?
I guess we'll see. I think it's like incredibly early,
for sure.
And like people don't know how to utilize it effectively, or like where the use case really is. With that being said, I think obviously it's going to like revolutionize the way that we all operate, not just like in the e-commerce space, but how everybody operates. And honestly, I don't know necessarily how good of a thing it's going to be, like in terms of like for society. Dude, if I was 16 years old and I got an essay assignment, there's no way I would be writing that. I'd be throwing that into ChatGPT, and I'm sure like every high schooler is going to be doing that too. And it's like, what does that mean, like for the future? Like kids don't know how to write.
That's scary.
You know what I'm saying? Like, So anyway, I digress a lot. But I think like specifically for e-commerce, I saw this really interesting thread from like this expert in influencer marketing who was showing how you can use ChatGPT 3 to source influencers. You can be like, show me influencers that have 50 to 500,000 followers, that have an engagement rate of X, that are in this category from this year, and it will just give you a list, like, which is pretty freaking powerful, right? Amongst all the other like use cases. But it should be interesting to see how things evolve over time.
Yeah, I wonder if you could like give it a link to a video and say based off the text within this video, because it can transcribe a video.
Oh, it can? I didn't know that.
You can transcribe a video, give it to them, be like, can you create a variation of this that is not the same, or that wouldn't have like plagiarism or whatever, and they'll make an entirely new, hook, storyline, call to action, and then you can use that now for a new video idea.
That's crazy.
And this is just like phase one of that. This kind of not decentralized. What would you call it? Like I guess kind of not you said democratize. I think that was a good way of putting it. AI, where people have more access to things that have already been out there. They just didn't really know about it.
It used to be like the engineer who could code and do all this stuff. You know how to use AI. Now it's like anybody, and anyone and their mom. All over Twitter, it's just like all these guys with all the ChatGPT and stuff.
Right, but it's just like what does that mean?
What does that mean?
The world, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. 100%. Yeah, I mean, one of the things, like when I was in school, I was studying mechanical engineering. I was just like, why the fuck am I learning all this shit? Why am I not being taught on how to use the technology you have on the field and at your disposal? But it's like, well, it's kind of good to have an idea of how they created that technology, so that you have a conceptual understanding of it foundationally, and then you appreciate the use of the technology. But like at the end of the day, when you're at the cash register, they're typing in the numbers. They don't have to do that shit in their head. It's like, well, why do you have to learn it? It's a golden question.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But then, like, at what point is like a human just like sitting home all day and just like an absolute like moron that like
in a different world.
A zombie, like an actual zombie, like a brain dead zombie. But like,
then what you can do is you crack a Tab's chocolate.
Yeah.
You get power. You got power.
True. Yeah, go to tabschocolate.com.
I have another question. Other than Tabs, you do anything else? Like, or you just sex chocolate all day?
Yeah,
what else do you do, bro?
Yeah, I dabble with a couple other. So I have a little social media marketing agency on the side.
Little plug.
Like we were talking about before, 99% of brands, their main engine is paid ads. And for us, we weren't able to run paid ads, and so we've had to figure out unconventional channels that most brands don't even know about or like can't even fathom. And as a result, like I have a skill set and systems that I've already built out and have done all the groundwork, and the foundations have been set, and I'm able to just take and apply. I also have a team, right? And just apply to other companies. And so we work with 6 to 7 or 8 brands at the moment, kind of applying a lot of the same systems, so like TikTok organic, a little bit of Instagram meme pages, Twitter memes.
Pretty much everything Facebook.
Pretty much just like out of the box shit. So that's something that I got going on the side. It's been going really, really well.
And you just moved to Arizona?
Yeah, I just moved to Arizona. We're shooting this in my new apartment that I just moved into, I think yesterday. And then I don't want to say like this is a venture, but I'm very active on Twitter. It's not like a business. I don't really monetize off of it. It's more so something that I spend a lot of time on, and it's like a place for me to express my thoughts, my feelings, and share like what's going on in my life, especially like in an entrepreneurial sense. It's kind of like my alter ego, like because I was in college, like I was a frat kid, like it was kind of like my alter ego of like being able to like be myself, like unfiltered, like as a young entrepreneur, and like I was able to find that community and connect with other people.
And like you're doing a lot of building in public. You're like you're telling people, hey, like this is what we're doing. You should try it out. I think people actually like gain a lot of value from that, right?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I hope so.
Yeah, you know.
Fuck, I hope so.
For sure.
But yeah, so Twitter's been great. I've met so many amazing people. Investors, VC guys, PE guys,
other entrepreneurs too.
Other entrepreneurs, other founders, some of my best friends, my 2 roommates, the guys that I'm living with, I met him on Twitter. How fucking crazy is that?
Crazy.
And I wasn't like an internet kind of kid. Like when I was younger, I was a very normal guy. I played soccer and lacrosse.
Hey, internet guys are normal too.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not like some like fucking like an online nerd that's like all my friends are online. Like,
No, for sure.
No, like
You play sports, you hung out with your friends.
yeah. Like,
A normal New York guy.
normal kid. But yeah, I mean, Twitter has just been unbelievable. Really changed my life. So
Yeah. And like the last year has probably changed your life too.
yeah,
dude,
it's been a really wild year. And, honestly, a lot of ups, a lot of downs too. Like a lot of downs. Like probably some of like the
Tell me
hardest.
something about the downs too, because like we're talking about all the ups. Like what are some stuff that you were like, you woke up one morning like, damn, this shit just sucks. Like maybe what's some stuff that just like pissed you off, like really got to this year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like they're long stories. It's not like this shit sucks. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm happy to talk about them, but yeah, basically, yeah, there's a lot.
Right? So it's not all like rainbows and amazing.
No. I think like that's part of the path of being an entrepreneur. When you look at most people that work a traditional job, right? They have like a pretty well-defined path laid out in front of them, right? It's like, I was going to a business school at the University of Michigan. I was going to Ross. Most people go into investment banking. And it's like, hey, you spend 2 years working your ass off in investment banking, you move up the ranks. At this point, you're going to earn X. You put in the sweat equity here. Eventually, you're going to become a partner. You're going to earn Y. And eventually, blah, 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 blah. And it's like very, very kind of linear and methodical. As an entrepreneur, right, nothing.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think when you're working like as an employee, there's a higher probably ground floor, but a lower ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
With an entrepreneur, like it's a roller coaster, and the highs are fucking high, right? Like, and you can build anything, and there's limitless opportunity and potential. But at the same time, there's also like nothing, to look down on. There's no security blanket. There's no safety net. There's no floor. There's no floor. There's no stability, right? And that was something that like I really experienced. I left school where my parents were quite frankly paying for my education. They were paying for my room and board. I'm very thankful for that. Shout out the parents. Yeah. I grew up privileged. My dad is like a corporate man. He's worked 20 years in the corporate space, and he's done very well for himself. But I left all that behind to like kind of venture on my own path. I went from moving to the fraternity into an apartment that I couldn't afford in Miami, which was a whole other story in itself. My roommate that I was supposed to kind of be living with and splitting rent with, ended up completely like scamming the fuck out of me.
Like brothers.
Yeah, talked about it before.
I mean, that's a whole other story.
What I like to say is that some lessons are more expensive than others.
Yeah.
That's one, and you can look at that and probably say like, shit, that sucked, but like I'm happy it happened because I wouldn't be where I am now if it didn't happen the way that it did.
Right. And yeah, I mean, after he left, I had this huge apartment to myself. Again, it was completely unfurnished because I couldn't even afford to buy furniture. Yeah. All of my money was tied up into the brand, reinvesting every dollar to fuel growth back into more inventory. I brought on 2 summer interns from the University of Michigan, which was also another huge mistake. I was paying them a lot of money. Again, wasn't paying myself anything. And they had no really experience or expertise. And one of like the things that I've learned, through this trial is that like when you bring somebody on the team, like they need to be teaching you stuff. Like you need to be bringing in like specialists in like defined roles and like domains, and they should have autonomy and they should be leading the charge and they should know more than you do in that certain kind of field and space. And so I brought on like these 2 generalists, and that was like very, like pretty stressful as well. And by the end of summer, we were growing, and then all of a sudden everything went to shit. Revenue fell by like 60%. Wow. One of my summer interns, who actually turned out to be like pretty like foundational, he was like kind of my right hand man. Tried to like extort me for equity in the company after like working with me for like 2 months, and basically told me like, hey, if you don't pay me more money, or if you don't give me any equity, I'm basically not going to work as hard. Like I'm not going to treat it like seriously.
So it's all real.
There's that, and then there's like huge co-founder issues where my fucking co-founder is completely MIA on vacation for 3 months. Like don't know where he is. Again, I don't really want to talk about that or get into that either. But everything kind of like shit hit the fan at once. The company's imploding. My co-founder's completely like MIA. I got this like employee who's like basically extorting me. I am living hand to mouth. I'm completely like broke, living in this apartment that I can't afford. It was just like a disaster, like a recipe for like just the perfect storm. And yeah, that took a huge toll on me. I moved back home, like with my parents, like with my family. I'm like sitting there thinking like, yo, like, I'm the fucking idiot, right? Like I could be in school right now. I could be like partying it up with all of my boys, like having fun, going out without a stress in the world. Instead, I'm back where like the one place where I didn't want to be, my fucking parents. Like, what did I do? Like, it was a really, really hard time. It was a really, really hard time. And I don't know, I had like super low self-esteem too. I didn't want to talk to other people. I didn't want to be seen by other people. Like, I didn't want to socialize. I isolated myself from the world. But eventually, God willing, like things turned around, things picked back up. And slowly, like we started growing. I kind of got out of the funk. I traveled. I went to Italy, to France, to Tel Aviv, Israel, met amazing like other entrepreneurs, like had life-changing experiences. My company is now at all-time highs. Last month we did $500,000 of revenue, which is like our biggest milestone so far. Thank you. And personally, I'm also, I would say, like the strongest I've ever been. So I'm not saying this to like. I'm not saying this like to just talk about like, oh, like poor me.
No,
like,
it's to teach people.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows by any means.
No, dude, that's what I wanted right there.
Kicked in the ass.
Everyone does honestly do, because like a big thing that I've been saying is that like success takes a long time. It doesn't just take like a month. You can't just pump the store for a month and do 100K a month and it's over. All this takes time, right? You have to get punched in the gut over and over and over and over again. And then at some point, hopefully, God willing, you have your success. You know what I mean?
Right.
And obviously, like, there's always more success, which like you're striving for right now, right? I'm gonna see you get to 8 figures. I know you are. Like,
you can 100% get to 8 figures a year.
Yeah, no, 100%. Easily. Especially like you said, good product, good marketing channels, not just relying on Facebook. A lot of D2C brands, shout out to all these brands that are just all on Facebook. You guys are taking shit. Like, you're not all on Facebook, you know what I mean? Like, building that moat, building that expertise is a big deal that people have to really understand. So if you don't have particular organic, talk to Oliver, hit him up on Twitter, because he will start hooking you up with that. This is awesome, because like meeting guys like you, seeing guys like us, like just in this space, be successful, but also you sharing how like, yeah, dude, this sucks. I felt it too before. I felt kind of, I'm like, yo, this sucks. Like, I was telling you before, like my parents wanted me to have a job, like wanted me to work in like banking and do all the BS. Like they paid for my college too. Like just like same boat. At the same time, I was like, nah, man, I want to figure something out on my own, do a good job, and like keep growing as a person. I think a lot of people listening to this are probably in the same boat. So like, take the risk and like, keep going. Sorry, I sound like
No, 100%. 100%. And yeah, I mean, like what you said too about like how things take time. Like Tabs wouldn't be Tabs without all the other shit that I did from 14 years old till today. All of the wins, the losses, like all the fuck ups, the lessons, and even like all the shit that I went through, this summer, this past year, like that is what has built me into the person that I am today.
No, people don't get that. Like Tabs isn't just like this year. Right. Since when you were 14.
Right.
I say the same thing with like ship music, the 3PL. Like yes, obviously like we're doing it now, it's successful now, whatever. But all that success is like when I was 16 starting Technics Academy, teaching little kids how to code. Like all those lessons, all that money, all like the relationships, all the learnings, all the failures. That's what's now happening, right? Like, you're the same way, dude. If you weren't doing the fish business on Etsy, you would have no idea what's going on right now. Same with Kyle, dude. Like, all of us. Like, we just literally, it's all building blocks, and the next is going to be bigger. Like, I'm sure the next thing is not going to be e-commerce tech shop. It's going to be some big private equity, tech, SaaS, exactly. Yeah, I'm not into that. So, that's awesome. Yeah, well. Yeah, do you have anything else? What do you got, Mr. Kyle?
Mr. Kyle.
That's a good question. Now we're interviewing me. I was gonna spit some game.
Oh, spit some game.
Blanking out.
Why are you running?
I wanted to say something.
Usually got the wisdom, bro.
I usually do have the phone.
Drop the wisdom.
Bro, I'm tired.
All day you was getting soul stated.
Alright, he keeps soul
Oh my god.
E-commerce class.
Dude, we've been talking our heads off. We've been networking with so many people. Obviously, you being one of them. And I
I hate to call it networking, bro. I don't know.
Just kicking it.
Yeah, just like kicking it.
Well, you know.
Alright, don't doubt me.
One of the things I wanted to mention though is, a lot of times you get someone, you paint the picture via how you see them on social media.
Right.
You see their YouTube, you see their Twitter, you see their Instagram, and you see this perfect lifestyle going on behind the scenes. And then you sit down and talk to them, and you're like, this is a normal person that has normal problems and that has overcome a lot of shit to get to where they are now. And I think that's super important about meeting people in person, even talking to people over the phone. It's a lot of times how you see people on social media is totally different than how they actually are in person. So yeah, being in person is important. Having those relationships, physically.
This weekend was a game changer on that. We've never met in person. We've texted a lot before.
Yeah.
You guys haven't spent that much time together either. Employment over there. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Some of the guys that we met this weekend, we met them all through Instagram or through DMs or texting. But seeing face to face, sitting down, chatting with somebody, it really builds that relationship, right? It's when you do your next thing, I'm sure we'll be talking on that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, 100%. But
You know what the other interesting thing is too, about kind of hearing about the struggles and the adversity and overcoming the challenges too that people don't talk about. You see the highlight reel and you look at these people that are bigger than you, right? These 8-figure guys or these moguls or these giants.
9-figure guys.
9-figure guys, fuck it. And you look at them and you're like, damn, they're superhuman. They must be blessed by God. And it's the secret is okay, I'm not downplaying it. They're smart. They're for sure smart. But they're made out of the same fucking blood as us.
Literally.
And we all have the ability to achieve just as much, if not more, as those people did too. So, I'm no smarter than you. Whoever's watching this right now, I probably don't have a higher IQ. I don't think I'm smarter than you. I don't think that I have some sort of crazy secret quality that you don't have. It's just about doing it, being on the journey, not giving up, and continually learning and grinding and improving. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to end this thing.
Yeah, we're gonna go have a fun time.
We're gonna have a fun time. We're in Arizona, dude. That's my first time out here. Your first time out here.
It's my first time out here.
And you just got a whole party.
I'm on a podcast.
Tell people where they can find you, where they can get the sex chocolates, where you just share whatever you want to
We'll have
share.
a link in the description.
Where do people
Follow me
find
on OnlyFans. My Twitter is Oliver__B1. I need to get a better Twitter.
That's
username.
crazy. That's actually
It's fucking
stupid.
bad. It's so bad. Follow me on Twitter. My brand is called Tabs Chocolate. I do have a TikTok agency. Love to talk to you about it if you're interested.
Yeah, sure with you.
Yeah, shoot me a DM. And thanks for having me, boys.
For sure. And for us, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share.
Smash the like button.
Also follow the TikTok, follow the Instagram. We're going big on short.
We're also actually.
Yo, let's work.
I'm putting on the spot here. You're gonna give us a promo code for Tabs Chocolate. We're gonna put it in.
All right, give me a word.
NMT, New Money Talk.
Oh, NMT10. New Money Talk.
You can do that. That's literally worse than the pop up for the email. I think it's 15%.
I'm doing 20.
NMT20 then. Put that in NMT20, get 20% off your Tabs Chocolate. Get free.
We'll see how powerful your following is.
We get one.
Little do you guys know, they negotiate a little referral fees.
We're all affiliates here.
We're gonna make shit out of this.
Anyways, thank you guys. Thank you, dude. Appreciate you. And keep on watching. See you in the next one.
Awesome.
Later, guys. Bye.
Peace.